Welcome to this exploration of one of history's most influential figures, Genghis Khan. Born Temujin around 1162, this Mongol leader would go on to found the largest contiguous land empire in history. But his path to power was far from easy. As we delve into the early life of Genghis Khan, we'll see how his experiences shaped the ruthless yet innovative leader he would become. Temujin's childhood was marked by hardship and betrayal. When he was just 8 years old, his father was poisoned by a rival Tatar tribe. In the aftermath, Temujin's own clan abandoned his family, leaving them to fend for themselves on the harsh Mongolian steppe. This betrayal would have a profound impact on the young boy, instilling in him a deep-seated distrust of others and a fierce determination to survive at all costs. As Temujin grew older, he faced numerous challenges. He was even enslaved for a time by a rival clan. But these experiences only served to harden his resolve. He began to gather followers, demonstrating a remarkable ability to inspire loyalty in others. This charisma would prove crucial in his rise to power. By his early 20s, Temujin had already begun to make a name for himself as a skilled warrior and leader. Temujin was taken prisoner on multiple occasions. Captured by the Taichudes, he escaped during a feast and hid first in the Onon, and then in the tent of Sorkin Shira, a man who had seen him in the river and not raised the alarm. Sorkin Shira sheltered Temujin for 3 days at great personal risk before helping him to escape. The process of unifying the Mongol tribes was no small feat. The steppe was a patchwork of rival clans, each fiercely protective of their independence. Temujin's genius lay in his ability to break down these traditional tribal structures and replace them with a system based on merit and loyalty to him personally. This was a radical departure from the norm, and would prove to be the foundation of his future empire. One of Temujin's most innovative strategies was the creation of the decimal system for organizing his army. Every man between the ages of 15 and 70 was conscripted into units of 10, 100, or 1,000. This system not only made his army incredibly efficient, but also served to break down tribal affiliations. Warriors from defeated tribes were deliberately split up and assigned to different units, making it difficult for them to band together in rebellion. It was a stroke of political and military genius. Another key aspect of Temujin's rise to power was his willingness to adopt new technologies and ideas. He was quick to recognize the value of siege warfare, something the Mongols had little experience with. He actively sought out Chinese and Muslim engineers to teach his army these new techniques. This openness to innovation would become a hallmark of his rule, and a key factor in the Mongol Empire's rapid expansion. Genghis sought and gained knowledge of sophisticated weaponry from China and the Muslim world, appropriated the Uyghur alphabet with the help of the captured scribe Tata Tonga, and employed numerous specialists across legal, commercial, and administrative fields. By 1206, Temujin had united the Mongol tribes under his rule and was proclaimed Genghis Khan, a title whose exact meaning is still debated by historians. Some suggest it means universal ruler, while others argue it simply represented a rejection of traditional titles. Regardless of its precise meaning, it marked the beginning of Genghis Khan's Imperial Ambitions. Genghis Khan's first major conquest was the Western Xia Kingdom, a Tangut-led state on Mongolia's southern border. This campaign, which began in 1209, was as much about securing resources and tribute as it was about demonstrating the Mongol army's newfound power. The siege of the Xia capital Zhongqing was particularly noteworthy. Despite lacking sophisticated siege equipment, the Mongols managed to breach the city's defences through a combination of ingenuity and sheer determination. Following the subjugation of Western Xia, Genghis turned his attention to the Jin dynasty, which ruled northern China. This campaign, lasting from 1211 to 1215, would prove to be a stern test of the Mongol army's capabilities. The Jin were a sophisticated opponent with large, well-fortified cities and a professional army. Yet through a combination of military prowess, psychological warfare and diplomatic manoeuvring, Genghis Khan managed to bring this powerful state to its knees. Unable to do more than camp before Zhongdu's fortifications while his army suffered from an epidemic and famine, They resorted to cannibalism, according to Carpini, who may have been exaggerating. Genghis opened peace negotiations despite his commander's militants. The success of the Mongol conquest was due in large part to their revolutionary military tactics and organisation. Genghis Khan's army was built around highly mobile cavalry units, capable of covering vast distances at speed. This mobility allowed the Mongols to outmaneuver their opponents and strike where they were least expected. The horse archer, in particular, became the backbone of the Mongol army, combining speed with devastating firepower. But it wasn't just their tactics that made the Mongols formidable. Genghis Khan was quick to adopt and adapt new technologies from the peoples he conquered. Chinese siege engines, for example, were rapidly incorporated into the Mongol arsenal. This willingness to learn and innovate gave the Mongols a significant edge over their more conservative opponents. It's a testament to Genghis Khan's pragmatism and forward-thinking approach to warfare. However, we can't discuss Mongol military success without addressing the role of terror. Genghis Khan was known for his brutal treatment of cities that resisted Mongol rule. The sacking of Nishapur, Merv, and Herat during the invasion of the Khwarezmian Empire are particularly infamous examples. While the death tolls reported by contemporary chroniclers are almost certainly exaggerated, there's no doubt that these actions were designed to spread fear and encourage other cities to surrender without a fight. It's a grim reminder of the human cost of empire building. Every city that resisted was destroyed. Nishapur, Merv, and Herat, three of the largest and wealthiest cities in the world, were all annihilated. The legacy of Genghis Khan is complex and often controversial. On one hand, his conquest led to the deaths of millions and the destruction of numerous civilizations. The sacking of Baghdad by his grandson Hulegu in 1258, for instance, is still remembered as a catastrophic event in the Arab world. Yet on the other hand, the Mongol Empire he founded brought about an unprecedented era of cultural exchange and trade across Eurasia. One of Genghis Khan's most significant legacies was the creation of the Yam system, a network of postal stations across the empire. This system allowed for rapid communication and facilitated trade on an unprecedented scale. The Silk Road, which had been disrupted by political fragmentation, flourished under Mongol rule. This led to a remarkable exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies across Eurasia. It's not an exaggeration to say that Genghis Khan's conquests helped lay the groundwork for the modern globalized world. In Mongolia today, Genghis Khan is revered as the founding father of the nation. His image appears on everything from banknotes to bottles of vodka. This veneration is a relatively recent phenomenon, as during the Soviet era, celebration of Genghis Khan was suppressed. The rehabilitation of his image in Mongolia speaks to the complex ways in which historical figures are reinterpreted and repurposed to serve contemporary national narratives. It's a fascinating example of how the past continues to shape the present. Modern Mongolians tend to downplay Genghis's military conquests in favour of his political and civil legacy. They view the destructive campaigns as a product of their time, in the words of the historian Michal Biran, and secondary to his other contributions to Mongolian and world history. As we conclude our exploration of Genghis Khan's life and legacy, it's worth reflecting on how our understanding of this complex figure has evolved over time. In the West, perceptions of Genghis Khan have shifted dramatically. During the Enlightenment, he was often portrayed as the epitome of the Oriental despot, a barbaric tyrant who brought nothing but destruction. However, more recent scholarship has begun to paint a more nuanced picture, acknowledging both the brutality of his conquests and his role in fostering cultural exchange and technological innovation. One aspect of Genghis Khan's rule that I find particularly intriguing is his religious policy. Despite being a shamanist himself, Genghis Khan was remarkably tolerant of other religions within his empire. He exempted religious leaders from taxes and often sought the blessings of various faiths before major campaigns. This policy of religious tolerance was not just a moral stance, but a pragmatic one. It helped to maintain peace within the diverse empire and facilitated the assimilation of conquered peoples. It's a strategy that many later empires would emulate. As we look back on Genghis Khan's life and achievements, it's clear that his impact on world history can hardly be overstated. He created not just an empire, but a new world order that would shape Eurasia for centuries to come. While we must not shy away from the violence and destruction that accompanied his conquests, we must also recognise the lasting institutions and connections he forged. Genghis Khan's legacy serves as a powerful reminder of how a single individual, through force of will and innovative thinking, can change the course of history. It's a sobering thought, and one that continues to resonate in our world today. Genghis Khan remains a controversial figure. He was generous and intensely loyal to his followers, but ruthless towards his enemies. He welcomed advice from diverse sources in his quest for world domination, for which he believed the shamanic supreme deity Tengri had destined him. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the life and times of Genghis Khan. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Your support really does make a difference. And do let me know in the comments what other historical figures or events you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Until next time, farewell.